Hey again, everybody. It's JT Richardson, and this is episode 5 of Well, I'll Be Damned. This one is titled Beauty and Meaning Sans Deity, and it's actually a title from one of the chapters of the book where I address this issue. So if you want to go in more detail about my response to this topic, be sure to check out the book, and I'll have the links in the description as always. But let's just get down to it, because this is a very, very big, important issue that atheists typically have to deal with when they're talking to believers, especially. Because one of the most common questions that a believer has, and rightfully so, is, well, if you don't believe in God, what is the meaning of life? How do you find purpose? How do you make sense of everything? Now, I'll remind you that in a previous episode, we talked about atheists and some of the data that's involved with being an atheist in America. And one of the most common responses from the majority of atheists was that family is how they find their sense of meaning in life. And I'd almost be inclined to just say, that's a good enough answer, because that's definitely a warm, fuzzy, and very powerful way of finding meaning in life is just, the love of a family and being with your family. But I'm not going to make it that easy. I'm not going to let myself get off like that. So let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So, this is actually why I'm sitting in front of a dartboard randomly for this episode. So, people look at the universe and the vastness of space and this huge, immense landscape that has no life and things don't work. And they see how we have gotten to the point where we are on the beautiful conditions of planet Earth. And they say that that's definitely evidence for them that there must be some ultimate creator, because things seem to be fine-tuned. In fact, the analogy that they constantly use is that it's like a dartboard. And for that dart to hit that bullseye amongst all the chaos, disorder, and confusion of existence, that there must be some sort of fine-tuning. I actually tend to view it the opposite way. I see that dartboard there as an immense volume of space that we cannot even comprehend. And I see it that there's been billions upon billions upon billions of darts thrown at that board, and 99% of them, at least that we can see so far, have all been utter failures with no design, no purpose, and no fine tuning. And just one dart, out of sheer dumb luck, happened to hit the bullseye. And now that we're zoomed way in and we're literally microscopic standing on that dart, and we can't see most of the other darts, we say, oh, this had to be planned if it worked this way, because of our narrow vision of existence. So first off, that's just one of the things I wanted to start off with, is that it is possible to have what we have without fine tuning. And some people think that that's really ugly and that it's just not a good example and that you can't find good meaning of that. I feel the exact opposite. I feel like that means that in the midst of billions upon billions of failures and chaos and destruction and unorganized existence, that we actually were so insanely lucky that things worked out for us to be here. And that's a huge reason to have beauty in the way I look at life and to make meaning of it. So that's just one of the things I wanted to start off with right off the bat, is that people tend to really demean the atheistic view and say, oh, we're just here by chance, as if that's a bad thing. And to me, I view it the exact opposite way. It's like, holy hell, we are all so lucky and so fortunate to be here. This wasn't designed for us. We just got that lucky. And now we should really take full advantage of that fact. So that's one of the big points I wanted to make. The other is life itself. Where do we find meaning in life? So again, just want to to start with that question and say it's almost kind of a weird question. Life is a state of being, it's the opposite of death. So it's almost weird to say that it must intrinsically have some meaning or some purpose. Some things just exist without purpose being assigned to them. So it'd be almost like saying, what is the meaning of happiness? What is the meaning of sadness? What is the purpose of light? What is the meaning of darkness? It's just the state of being. It doesn't necessarily have to have a meaning. However, we are sort of programmed to search for meaning in things, so let's do it. Let's just do it. I want you to hear one atheist explanation of meaning, beauty, and purpose in life. I can't speak for all us atheists, but I can speak fairly damn well for myself, so I'll give it a shot. So I want to say that as a former devout Christian, I can tell you what it felt like to have that meaning and that purpose assigned to my life, and I can compare it to my current meaning and purpose. So, before, I was basically given the story that there is an eternal life after this one, and you can spend it either in heaven or in hell. So right off the bat, if I'm looking at an eternity, and this life is spent just to spend this finite, tiny amount of time planning so that I can get to the good eternity rather than the bad eternity, then that makes this life really fucking useless. Because it takes all of 10 minutes to hear the story of heaven and hell and make up your mind that you want to go to heaven. And then you have to spend the rest of your life just waiting to die to make it there. So it makes this life not actually have that much meaning. You know, you can figure out all that meaning at age 6 whenever you're going to like a youth worship at your church and they tell you you don't want to go to hell. Okay, I figured out the meaning of life. I'm going to do whatever this book and whatever this preacher tells me so that I make it to heaven instead of hell. If I can save some people along the way, that's awesome. But literally this life is basically like one speck of sand in an entire beach compared to eternity. And so that's how important this life was to me as a Christian. In fact, it was almost like, I can't wait to die because then I get to go to heaven. So that's kind of the comparison that I have from being on both sides of the fence. And now that I don't have this concept of heaven and hell, and even more importantly, now that I don't have a concept of an afterlife, that makes this life a whole shit ton more important to me and have a lot more meaning. Because that means this is the only shot I've got. And I have to take every moment and appreciate it and live it to the fullest. Because whenever I die, it's gone. So that also means if people are doing good, they deserve to be praised and given reward right now because it's the only chance they're going to get. It means if people are being bad, that we have to take care of them as a society and solve that problem because there's not going to be hell in the afterlife for them. It's actually up to us. And speaking of beauty and meaning, without a God, there's nobody watching over me. There's nobody making decisions for me. There's nobody protecting me. So that means that all the power in my life resides right here. And of course, that can be a terrifying realization for some people. But once you get over that and you really start to appreciate the fact that you dictate your life and you make those choices, it's very, very hard to imagine at all any more beautiful way of living than knowing that you are in control of your life and that you're not a slave to a sky father who is going to reward you or punish you for your actions, or that already has a plan and that you can't control it. So definitely, having lived on both sides of the fence, I see way more beauty and meaning thinking that we came into this existence through sheer chaos and luck, and we were given this amazing opportunity, and that this is our one shot to do it. and that there is nobody that's controlling me or pulling the strings. There is no eternal punishment. There is no eternal reward. All I have is each day and each moment of each day to live life to the fullest. And that, to me, is the epitome of beauty and meaning in life for me. And in fact, knowing that there is no afterlife means that the only way that we can live on after we pass is by making a big enough impact on those around us to where we live on in their memories and the lessons that they learn from us, and they take those little pieces of us and pass it on for generation and generation. And that's the only way that we do have a true afterlife. So basically, in summary, coming out of chaos against all the odds by chance is amazing. It's not sad, it's not ugly, it's fucking beautiful that we're here, and we should take advantage of that fact. There is no heaven or hell, there is no afterlife, which makes this life way more important for people who don't believe in an afterlife. This is our only shot. We're not just living to die so that we can get rewarded. Because if you think about it, if heaven is the purest form of overwhelming joy that we can experience, that even your best moments here on earth are dog shit compared to what you would experience by just dying and going to heaven. So this life is way, way, way more important without an afterlife, and that's where I find beauty and meaning. And then also living towards the fact that I'm in control of my life. There's no one pulling the strings or dictating. There's no one to ask permission. There's no one to ask to have something done. Instead, I get to have that power and get things done myself. So that, all those things, and then the last thing being that the only afterlife we have is the impression that we leave on our loved ones. To me, that's just like this whole ball of beauty and joy and meaning and purpose. And it all exists, and it's all powerful, and it's inspiring, and it motivates me and makes me happy on a daily basis when I stop to think about it. And the biggest realization that I have on all of that is that there is no God involved in that at all. And I have so much meaning, purpose, and beauty without a God required. And I invite anybody to try to share in that experience with me because it is an amazing one. So thank you for joining me. As always, I'm going to put links to the book where there is a chapter devoted to everything I've spoken about today. I'm also going to put descriptions in the description, a link to my Facebook page so you can talk to me or you can just laugh at my goofy ass memes. But thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll continue to join me. Give me some feedback on what you thought about this and how you feel about my explanation of meaning. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys, and take care.